All right, here we go. Last one, budgeting. Understand that a budget is a financial plan. So if you see the term financial plan, perhaps maybe, on an exam, know that that's just a fancy word for budget. Okay, so you have an operating budget. An operating budget is your day-to-day expenses. Your biggest expense in your operating budget is your personnel. Personnel is the largest expense. This cost center thing is just a fancy number that gets assigned to you. I have one here at Alverno. If I send something to the print shop, the stuff I pass out for you in class, it gets charged to the cost center that has a number. I think I'm 1690. I think that's what nursing is at Alverno. So every unit of the hospital has a cost center. That's all it means. You don't need to know that piece of useless information. Maybe you'll win something special on Trivia Pursuit or something knowing that. So although you need to know the types of budgets and what's all, maybe what falls under them, you don't need to understand what this means. Just know it exists. This is where we use the hours per patient day. This is where patient acuity comes in. This is your patient days and your workload. And that's how you get your personnel budget. Okay? And that's all included in your operating budget. The furthest you need to go is to know that a personnel budget is under an operating budget. But in your personnel budget, you do have productive versus non-productive time. So anybody who works full-time works 2,080 hours a year, plus depending on how much non-productive time you get. So you get about 1,800, right? Right around productive hours. Okay. And that's all under your operating budget. And that includes, like I found out this last weekend, when I work the weekends for the DOC, I get a 60-cent differential. So there's straight time in your personnel budget, overtime, premium pay. Sometimes they give you premium pay like on holidays. They'll call it premium pay, or raises. Your benefits are all part of your operating budget. Somebody's asking me what the temperature is. Okay. So supply and other expense budgets. This is other than personnel. Medical supplies, office supplies, minor equipment, books, journals, orientation is considered other than personal services. Your revenue budget is your projected income. So this is what you think. Sorry, this is what you think. Your capital budget is for major items. All right. And I think there's a dollar amount, you guys. There's a dollar amount that puts something in a capital budget. And I want to say, I don't think you need to know for the exam. In fact, I know you don't. But it's major capital items, major equipment on the physical plant. I think it's over $5,000. Anything over $5,000 becomes a capital budget expense. Look that up in the book, though. All right, all right. And then cash budget. This is for when, like, I don't know, you bring lunch for the group. So they'll give you money out of the petty cash. I know Lisa in the new sim lab, she has a little cash budget because she'll run to Walmart to get vinegar or distilled water or whatever they need over there for the mannequins and stuff. So a budgeting process, you need to plan, right? Think about what would you gather if you needed to plan a budget? Start small. What do you do at your own house when you're thinking of a budget? But then when you think of a healthcare system, who do I need to hire this year? Who do I need to replace? Do I need any more additional staff? What equipment do we need? Is something broken that we need to replace? Does anybody want to go to any conferences? All of that stuff needs to be gathered. And then you have an operating budget for the day-to-day expenses, and maybe if equipment needs to be replaced, that would fall under your capital budget. And then this is what we have for extra stuff, which I'm sure right now being in school, there's not a lot of extra stuff. But, you know, like I use certain things to get gas or go to the grocery store, different things. And you always have to negotiate and revise your budget in a hospital, just like you do at home. If you lose a job, if you gain a job, you're revising your budget, right? So how important is cable, right? So those kinds of things. And then evaluating. And then there's variance and performance reports. And remember, a variance is neither good or bad. For your variance, you don't want a variance to the positive or the negative of more than 5%. I'm gonna have to clear my throat again, you guys, I'm so sorry. You don't want a variance of more or less than 5%, because then that means that you didn't plan well. And then there's performance reports. Oh, here it is, yes. Nothing greater than 5%. Productivity is your outputs and your inputs. So, decrease in inputs or increase in outputs can increase productivity. So what would that be talking about? That would be talking about your hours per patient day. So you could have, what would cause your variance to go whacked if you decided I need these many people, I need to put these many people in the unit to take care of these many patients, right? But suddenly you have 6 sitters. Okay, really not increasing your output, but you have to increase your input. If you have anything that relates to your patient acuity, may cause your budget to vary. Any major increase or decrease in your census may cause your budget to vary. In the summer, everybody's taking vacation. Everybody on the unit gets the flu. I have to hire 8 new people. Okay, all of those things can cause your budget to vary. Home health. This is true. Home health, the standard is 5 visits per day. All right, but say you are working with a nurse and she only had 3 visits one day. You might want to check and see why. Maybe her patient acuity required her to only have 3 visits. And that would happen to me. You'd get somewhere, someone was in a crisis, they were actively dying, and you didn't go anywhere else that day. So you needed extra time for that one patient, and then that could affect their productivity. So you always want to check in and say, why is this way? All right, see, I'm glad. Okay, so how will you modify your practice to help emphasize cost containment? And in the beginning, when you guys get that first job, think about supplies. Okay, that's one way you can do it. All right, we're all done. Whew.